John Wilner Hotline. Let's focus then on Arizona State. I saw most of that game. It was a hard watch. That's the only way to put it. The U of A game was an even harder watch. I think for everything, all the buildup around the new era and getting the fans to show up and to have U of A absolutely get annihilated in boat race. And I'm hearing Yogi just trying to pull every story out of the hat to fill the last 2 hours and 45 minutes. Because, John, that game was over in the second quarter.
Yeah. I think it was over after the block punt in the first quarter. You know, if you're going to have a guy that needs to fill time, though, Yogi's pretty good. He's got good scores. So, you know, I mean, to me, the first quarter, it was reminiscent of the ASU game, right? I mean, it was just, you know, it's that Mike Tyson line, everybody's got to play until you get punched in the mouth. I mean, that San Diego State did that to Arizona right away. And I think it was a huge reality check for the Wildcats, right? Jedd Fisch, you got to give him credit for doing a lot of things right in the community with the culture of the program. He's working hard on recruiting. He's mending relationships with high schools and high school coaches. He's trying to get the fans involved. But that can't happen, right? That cannot happen. And that tells you how far they got to go. And it also tells you that we don't know that he can do it. We don't know that he can do it. Maybe he can. And it's going to probably, out of fairness, take a few years to be for judgment. But we don't know that he can do it. And
you know, I'll jump in on you on this one. John, they have NAU this week, okay? And Chris Ball, who was here on Todd Graham's staff, is doing a really good job up there. He's got 60 in-state kids that have said, I'm not going to, I guess I'm not good enough, or I just don't want to go to U of A or go to ASU, so I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder. They're going to come down off the hill. And this is a game that in past, you should be playing your backups if you're Jedd Fisch by halftime. And if they can't get over on NAU, then we're really going to sit here and say, what is going on exactly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're spot on. Well, I mean, even if they win that game, but they're, you know, it's neck and neck for 3 quarters. Right. I agree. Absolutely. You know, they lost, I don't know, multiple recruiting cycles under Kevin Sumlin, right? I mean, it was terrible. But the transfer portal gives you a chance to kind of recharge your depth chart quickly. But you know, it looks like it's going to be a very long year. The question is going to be, can they get it rolling at all for next season, right? But if you're an Arizona fan, you still got to be skeptical about the Fisch era. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I thought Steve Kerr said it well. I don't know if you saw his line. He gave the team Steve Kerr said, I gave the team the pregame pep talk. I guess I got to do a better job.
Yeah. It's all Kerr's fault.
It's all his fault.
I mean, how can you have Kirby, your honorary captain, play like that, right? It's like, you know, it's insulting to the king of Tucson.
That's right. John Wilner with us, Wilner Hotline. Before I get you out of here, a couple other things. So I think one of the great national games this week. So Alabama, Florida, great national game. BYU is sat there. They get put into a new conference. It's not in the Pac-12. You wrote about it in depth, about them going over to the Big 12. And now they could win for the 3rd week in a row, John, over a Pac-12 team. Herm Edwards' squad is going to Provo. I'm taking the show to Provo for a couple days. So one of the great national games this week, I think.
I agree. You know, it's got a good spot too. ESPN 7:30. That's actually, I know a lot of fans don't like night games, but that's a pretty, you know, that's an important spot for ESPN. I can't wait for it, frankly. A couple of thoughts real quick. One is, you know, it's 2 levels up in competition for ASU, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll see. You can get away with mistakes against UNLV and Southern Utah, and BYU will make you pay. BYU, we'll see how they come back. It's you know, they just played their rivalry game, and they just beat their rival for the first time in a decade. So to the extent that they're going to party in Provo, they're partying in Provo, right? Now, the other thing that I think is interesting is, you know, what ASU needs is to win that game, and then they need BYU to keep winning, because the only way ASU's non-conference schedule gets any legitimacy is if BYU has a good season. So ASU, as soon as that game is over, they are BYU's biggest fan. But it's going to give us a real good look at the state of the South. The Pac-12 can't afford to lose another undefeated team, right? It's only, at this point, it's ASU, it's Oregon, and it's UCLA. 3 undefeated teams. The SEC's got like 10 undefeated teams right now. The Big Ten has got 7. Pac-12 needs its unbeatens to stay that way for a few more weeks.
And this is a week where, if you just look at the conference in total, the UCLA-Fresno State game, really interesting to me. The rest of the schedule, not so great this week.
Not so great. And part of that's because, most of the teams play their big game in week 2, the big non-conference game in week 2, and then they've got more of a cream puff type to get ready for league play. The one other game, and I agree with you, Fresno, that'll be interesting, especially with the Bruins coming off a bye. The one other game that strikes me, though, is USC Washington State, right? Just because of the current state of the Trojan program, and now they're going up there. And another, at this point, every loss for SC is going to be a big deal.
That is John Wilner, the Wilner Hotline, all things around the Pac-12. John, thanks.
Thanks a ton, Brad. It's great doing it.